Thank you for tuning in to the third episode of Developing Next Gen Conversations with Professionals, brought to you by the new NMOM Essential Gold. In this episode, we will be covering two aspects of a child's development. Firstly, on eye and vision development, Dr. Rajini Savananthan, Consultant General and Developmental Pediatrician from Baby and Beyond Child Specialist Clinic, highlights the importance of vision check and the rules when it comes to children's screen time. Followed by Dr. Yong Junina Fatzil, Consultant Pediatrician and Pediatric Cardiologist from Klinik Pakar Kanak-Kanak Junina, on the role of good gut environment to support immune system. We will also be hearing from Wendy Goh, Scientific and Nutrition Manager from Fonterra Brands Malaysia, on the role of nutrition and how it can help support these two areas of development. Joining me is Dr. Rajini Savananthan, Consultant General and Developmental Pediatrician, to tell us more about healthy eye development and vision and its impact on children's ability to focus and learn. Dr. Rajini, based on a survey conducted by the NMOM Essential Gold, recently among 304 Malaysian mothers with children 1 to 6 years of age, 7 out of 10 Malaysian mothers do not bring their children for vision examination, even though they recognize the importance of eye development and good vision to support their children's focus and learning. So perhaps you could enlighten us. How important is eye and vision examination, and how often should parents get their children's eyes checked?
So extremely important, Megan. We as doctors do screen children's visions through assessing their developmental skills when they come for their immunizations, or even when we're chatting with parents and, we're playing with kids. Indirectly, we are trying to see whether or not there are any problems with the eye or the vision. But I would advocate that children from 4 years old should be formally screened for any visual problems. And if parents are at all concerned, for example, if that child is clumsy, seems to be tripping over things, it could be that that child's vision is affected and that's why they're not perceiving things appropriately. Or if the parents see a squint at any age, they must seek further evaluation. So don't wait till that child's 4 years old. So if you don't have any concerns, still screen your child at 4 years old for visual problems, if there are any concerns about their visual skills.
So how does vision impact a child's ability to focus? Because as we know, it is an important aspect for understanding the world around them and learning in general. So how does it affect a child's ability to focus?
We know, for example, if children have visual impairment, they can have delays in all areas of the development. For example, like I mentioned earlier, a child who may be short-sighted, for example, they may have difficulties focusing on things that are being taught to them at a distance. Or if a child is sighted, they may have difficulties even coming downstairs. And children with refractive errors, that is long-sightedness or short-sightedness, astigmatism, when there's a problem with the curvature of the eyeball, or if they have a lazy eye, it can affect their fine motor coordination, their dexterity, their manipulation, and indirectly it then affects their emotions or even sometimes how they communicate what they see with other people. Like I said, they can have difficulties with depth perception, and that makes them clumsy. And then, if you're clumsy, sometimes your friends laugh at you. That can indirectly affect your self-esteem. And everything has a knock-on effect. And definitely will have difficulties developing literacy and numeracy skills if they have difficulties integrating what they see visually. When we learn to read, it's about looking at the form, listening to the sound, putting that together, and the same with writing as well. And we often see that children who have visual problems, which are not corrected, that can result in attention problems, learning disabilities, depending on the severity of the visual problem. And as I said earlier, all this then affects a child's behavior sometimes, where they start to avoid activities and situations that they find challenging. And children cannot sometimes tell you that there's something wrong with my vision, mum. Maybe older children can, but if we're talking to that age group 1 to 6, they have been seeing the world differently, and sometimes they may not understand that the reason why they're falling over is because they're not seeing very well. So that's why we need to screen their vision.
So it goes beyond just learning ability and focus. You talk about self-esteem as well and behavioral problems. And with an increasingly digitized world, it is inevitable for the Gen Alpha to spend time on screen. I mean, for instance, during the MCO period, children have no choice but to spend more time on screen for either e-learning, or even for us parents, we have no choice but to allow screen time to keep them occupied, especially parents who have to work from home or have no help at all. So how does extended screen time affect young children's eye development and vision?
So extended screen time has always been associated with children having dry eyes that then cause irritation. Because another thing is when children focus a lot on screens, that makes the lens in your eye less flexible when you focus on distant objects, especially if you don't have that balance of, screen time and playing outdoor. And that shows that the reduced outdoor daylight exposure, that affects that developing eye. And so children are then predisposed to short-sightedness or myopia. So that's something that research has shown with extended screen time as well.
And I'm pretty sure you get this question asked a lot as well. How much screen time in a day should be allowed for children 1 to 6 years old?
We tend to follow the recommendations by the American Association of Pediatrics, which actually recommends no more than an hour of screen time daily for children between 2 and 5 years old. And beyond 5 years old, actually the recommendation, so if you're talking like your 6-year-old, it's actually 1 to 2 hours of screen exposure. That's the point, that we don't want kids to just be babysat in front of a screen. And it's very important that we get our kids to take frequent breaks and if possible, not to watch that 1 hour continuously all the time. Our pediatric ophthalmologists often tell our patients, try and follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, make your child take a break for at least 20 seconds, make them look at something that's 20 feet away, and just make sure they blink at that time as well. So
that's a really good tip. 20-20-20. Now the challenge is to get the child away from the screen after 20 minutes, because they usually, want more and more and more. But Thank you so much, Dr. Rajini. Now that we understand the importance of healthy eyes, let's find out the right nutrition for the eyes to help children stay focused. Wendy, please enlighten us.
Thanks, Megan. Dr. Rajini mentioned earlier that children who have visual impairments and are not corrected earlier on can result in difficulties with developing literacy and numeracy skills and can have problem integrating what they see visually. So this can result in attention problems, meaning the ability to stay focused and learning disabilities. 80% of children's learning is done through visions. Nutrients like vitamin A is essential for the eyes to function, and DHA is a key component of all cell membranes and is found in abundance in the brain and retina. So DHA is important for visual acuity or the sharpness of the vision. One of the hardest things for children to learn is the ability to stay focused. Focus is key developmental area that needs a lot of practice. It is an essential skill, especially when children start school. Nutrients like iron is important for red blood cell formations and to carry oxygen to all parts of the body, including the brain. Iron deficiency has been linked to poor sustained attention and memory. So do ensure your school children have sufficient iron to help them stay focused.
Right, got it. Vitamin A, DHA, and iron. Thank you so much, Wendy, and of course to Dr. Rajini as well. Now back to our findings of the new NMOM Essential Gold survey. Among 304 Malaysian mothers, 9 out of 10 moms are aware of prebiotics, which helps to improve gut function and support a good immune system. Dr. Yong Janina, can you tell us more about the connection between our gut and our immune system, and how does a child's gut health support the immune system?
I think, as you rightly pointed out, Megan, most parents have heard of probiotics and prebiotics, but in a lot of cases, they're confused. What is probiotics and what is prebiotics? So basically, probiotics are good bacteria that live in our gut, probiotics. And prebiotics is the food for this good bacteria of probiotics. So prebiotic is the food for probiotics, and probiotics are good bacteria that live in our gut. And this colony of bacteria actually establishes themselves in our gut from a very young age. But studies have shown that you can actually alter the community when the child is still young, say about before 4 or 5 years of age. After that, it gets that bit harder to alter. And the importance of these gut bacteria is that they help to protect us from infection that can be transmitted through the gut. And 70% of our immune system is actually in the gut. And if we don't have a healthy colony of gut bacteria, then we are less protected against certain infections.
I see. So protecting the gut health is super, super important. So thank you so much, Dr. Yong Janina, for those useful tips. All right, now that we know how important it is that we have good gut health, it's on to Wendy for some nutritional tips for the gut and immune system. So over to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Megan. There are over 200 trillion bacteria in our guts. It is made up of good and bad bacteria. We need to ensure that a balance is maintained, because when good bacteria is reduced, bad bacteria can take over, making us feel sick. Thus, inculcating healthy eating habits among children is important to maintain a good gut health. Increase your child's fiber intake by including more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and prebiotics-rich food in their daily diet. Prebiotics such as fructooligosaccharides, phos, and inulins are dietary fibers that serve as food for the good bacteria and encourage their growth for good intestinal environment. With a good gut environment, this will help in terms of digestion, absorptions of nutrients, as well as supporting strong immune system. A strong immune system is key for protections against infections. A healthy, balanced diet, physically active, good sleep, enough water intake, all this contributes to health and thereby to immunity. Thus, provide your child with a variety of food from various food groups such as fruits and vegetables, whole grains, milk and milk products, meat, fish, poultry, legumes, to enable him or her to obtain the important nutrients such as vitamin A, C, A, D, iron, zinc, and selenium to support his or her immune system. However, sometimes I know it could be challenging when introducing a new food for your children, especially when they are picky eaters. Therefore, making meals interesting is helpful to encourage your children to try out new types of food. Involving your child in food preparations also help to increase the chances your child will taste his or her own creations. Have your child to assist you with measuring, pouring, stirring, or even as simple as washing vegetables.
There you go, parents. Just get your children involved when it comes to the preparation of the meals. Make it exciting and interesting. I've heard from a fellow parent that, in order to encourage your child to eat the things that you want them to eat, just don't give it to them. You eat it. They'll be curious enough to ask for it. So there you go. Those are all the tips that were given to you by Wendy and Dr. Yong Janina. Thank you so much.